Okay, so welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today we're looking ahead to Nigeria in 2027 to the elections.
Yeah.
Big year, right?
Yeah.
Huge year. And we've got this piece by Shamsudeen Ibrahim,
Right.
and it's powerful stuff, you know?
Mm.
He doesn't mince words when describing the situation in Nigeria right now.
No, he doesn't.
Unimaginable economic and social turmoil. I mean,
Oh.
that's a pretty
Yeah.
stark statement, right? Runaway hyperinflation, he talks about extreme poverty, hunger,
Yeah.
and this whole idea of, government corruption and incompetence.
It's a lot.
So if you're listening to this and you're in Nigeria and feeling that frustration,
Yeah.
the desire for change as we get closer and closer to 2027, well, this deep dive is for you.
Absolutely.
We're really going to try to break down the things that might shape these upcoming elections. And
Yeah.
Ibrahim's analysis is really interesting because he's asking this question: will Nigerian voters actually approach things differently this time?
Right.
And what can the opposition do? What strategies should they be thinking about?
Yeah. Great questions.
So let's jump in.
Let's get into it.
Ibrahim starts off with a really interesting point.
Okay.
He says that the 2023 election outcome might have been a fluke,
A fluke.
driven by sentiment slogans, things like Emalokan.
Oh, yeah.
What do you make of that, especially given what's happening now in the country?
Well, it is fascinating to think about the contrast between that time, the 2023 elections, and now.
Right.
Because there was a huge emotional element then.
Oh, totally.
But now people are up against it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing fuel prices, triple food, costs 5 times higher than they were.
It's wild.
Widespread insecurity. Ibrahim says Nigerians are not fools.
Right.
He says that straight up.
Yeah.
And he's suggesting that maybe those old influences, tribalism, religion, which have always been a part of Nigerian elections, well, maybe they're not as powerful anymore.
Yeah.
Because this hardship, it's hitting everyone. Everywhere you go, it's affecting everybody. It goes beyond identity now.
Yeah.
This is about survival.
It's about putting food on the table.
Yeah, exactly. And, connecting that to your point about voters, this suggests a real potential shift in motivations.
Right.
It's not just about where you come from or what you believe anymore. It's about, are you able to live?
Yeah.
Are you able to take care of your family? And Ibrahim doesn't hold back. He's got some criticisms for the government's approach.
Yeah.
He points out this return to a loan culture after they spent so long condemning that.
Right.
And the reforms, well, he suggests that everyday Nigerians aren't feeling those reforms as positive changes.
No. They feel like they're being left behind.
Yeah, it's like a survival of the fittest situation.
Yeah.
And that makes you think, how effective is the government's message, really?
Right.
When so many people are just struggling to get by day to day.
So let's get into some specifics about the political strategies.
Yeah.
Ibrahim lays out what he sees as President Tinubu's potential approach for 2027.
All right.
And it's very calculated. It's almost like he's looking at it like a math problem. He talks about securing a massive win in the Southwest,
Okay.
then using people like Wyke and Akabio to divide the South-South. He's talking about very specific vote targets in certain northern states.
Yeah.
And ultimately trying to get to about 16 or 17 states, plus the FCT.
So just enough to win.
Just enough. Yeah. What do you think about that? As a strategy, does it seem plausible to you?
But I think what's striking is how Ibrahim is framing it. He's suggesting that this strategy, it's more about getting those votes than it is about building a national consensus.
Right.
And that raises a really important question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In a country where people are facing such serious economic and social problems, can you just focus on narrow political wins? Will that actually lead to stability? Will that lead to progress? And there's a key assumption here.
What's that?
That the opposition stays divided.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect segue because that brings us to Ibrahim's thoughts on the opposition. He says they've got a real chance to disrupt this strategy,
Okay.
but they have to get organized.
Right.
They have to offer a real, credible alternative to what's happening now.
Yeah. A real choice.
And he throws out some names, right?
Yeah.
Peter Obi,
Oh, yeah.
the energy he brings.
He's got that charisma, right?
Atiku with his network.
That experience.
Kwankwaso, the grassroots support.
Huge on the ground.
And then some potential wildcards.
Oh, like who?
El Rufai Amechi.
Interesting.
He even mentions Goodluck Jonathan maybe making a comeback.
Wow.
So how important is this idea of a united opposition to Ibrahim's analysis?
Oh, it's central.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. He's saying if these guys can come together, their combined strength could be really powerful.
Yeah.
He even throws out some potential pairings.
Like what?
Obi and El Rufai. Maybe a unified front around Kwankwaso, or a return for GEJ.
Wow.
Or maybe a ticker with full backing from everybody.
So many possibilities.
Right. The point is their collective impact could be huge, but it's not just about who's on the ticket.
Right.
He's saying they need a strategic narrative.
Yeah.
Something that speaks to what Nigerians are going through every single day.
And he names them
hunger,
unemployment,
the insecurity.
education system.
Yeah, it has to be about these real issues.
What parts of that potential opposition strategy stand out to you?
That combination of unity and a message that resonates with people's daily struggles.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just say, oh, we're not the current government.
Right.
They need to offer a believable plan. How are they going to fix these huge problems?
It can't just be empty promises.
No, it has to be concrete.
And Ibrahim makes another interesting point.
Yeah.
He says that even in places that have traditionally been strong support bases, like the Southwest, people are starting to question things. They're asking, are we actually benefiting from this?
That's huge.
He even calls the Lagos success story a myth.
Wow, a myth.
Built on propaganda debt and elite capture.
So he's saying that even those long-standing loyalties might be cracking.
Yeah.
Because people are feeling the pinch.
And it's not just the Southwest.
No, you're right.
He even talks about the potential for challenges from within the ruling party.
Oh, yeah. He mentions people like Fayemi Arregbesola.
Exactly.
And he suggests that maybe Buhari's influence in the north might not be what it used to be.
Things are shifting.
Yeah, the whole landscape feels a lot more unpredictable now.
He really gets into the nitty-gritty of the regional dynamics, too.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
The North Central, where that Muslim ticket is still a major issue for lots of people.
Right.
The FCT and all the uncertainty around that.
Sure.
Then you've got states like Kwara, Niger, Nasarawa, Kogi.
Right, each with its own.
Each with its own thing going on.
Exactly.
But he puts a lot of emphasis on the South-South.
Why is that?
He thinks it's going to be a crucial battleground.
Interesting.
And he says if Goodluck, Jonathan, and Amici teamed up,
Together?
that could be a game changer.
Wow, that would shake things up.
And then the Southeast.
Yeah.
Maybe not the biggest voting bloc for the current government, but Ibrahim says the opposition can't ignore it.
Right.
You've got Peter Obi's influence there and other key figures.
Yeah, it's a really complex picture.
Super complex and potentially changing constantly.
Yeah, you really have to keep up with it.
And in the end, Ibrahim's analysis boils down to action.
Okay.
He's calling on the opposition to drop their egos.
Put aside the differences.
And act with urgency.
Yeah.
He even suggests they announce a shadow cabinet.
Oh, wow.
To show that they're ready to govern.
To prove they're serious.
He says the president is trying to weaken the opposition.
And
that means he sees them as a threat, especially since he didn't win by that much in 2023.
That's a good point.
What did you take away from his final thoughts?
That urgency, it's like a call to arms.
Yeah.
He's saying 2027 can't be business as usual.
Nope.
Nigerian voters are wiser now.
And this election.
It's about the soul of the country.
Not about tribe.
Exactly.
And he's warning the government against complacency.
Right.
Because things are really tough for people.
Yeah.
He uses that phrase, they've seen all the sheesh.
Powerful stuff.
He even suggests that President Tinubu could be defeated by a massive protest vote.
Regardless of any rigging.
And that public dissatisfaction is even higher than it was under Goodluck Jonathan?
That's a bold statement.
It really is.
He's saying that change is possible.
Yeah. And it's up to the people to make it happen.
Exactly. And I think that brings us back to the heart of Ibrahim's analysis.
Yeah.
The 2027 elections are going to be shaped by what's happening in the economy right now.
Right. By those harsh realities.
Yeah, hyperinflation, poverty, and security.
And the feelings that drove the 2023 elections.
Those are taking a back seat.
Exactly.
To those very real, urgent needs.
So the opposition has a chance.
Yeah, but they have to overcome their divisions.
Come together.
Present a united front.
And speak directly to the people.
To their frustration.
And to their hopes for the future. So that brings us to you, our listener.
Yeah.
We've laid out the situation as Shamsudeen Ibrahim sees it.
Stakes are high.
So we want to ask you a question.
Yeah. What are you looking for?
What actions or narratives from the opposition would make you say, yes, I'm voting for them?
What would make you believe in change?
That's something to think about as we get closer to 2027.
Yeah, do your research, consider different viewpoints.
Engage with the political landscape.
Man, be ready.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.